My name is Sam Hill, and we're at North Bryan New Birth Baptist Church right now. I've been here coming up on 18 years. I was with another church prior to that for 14 years. So I've served in the role of pastor for about 32 years, and prior to that I spent 7 years as a youth pastor at a church in College Station. Of course, you probably know I started when I was 7 or 8. I'm really not that old. But an unfortunate accident took the life of the pastor that came before me, Pastor Lonzel Payton Jr. He was very instrumental, even in my ministry when I started. Meant a lot. And I had been coming to this church for about 7 years for a summer revival, a summer youth revival. And so after he had passed away, I guess they took that into consideration and they asked me to come and see about maybe being their pastor. And it turned out after some other incidents went on that I ended up being the pastor here. It's been a wonderful experience.
Great.
Everything I could ask for and more. And so I'm extremely thankful to God that I am here. I love the church family. They have been very, very good to me. We probably operate a little different from other churches, but it works for us. And so I'm very, very thankful for that. Probably the most exciting thing is to know that this year was the theme, if you will, of this year's for the church was moving on to spiritual maturity. Our country is rapidly changing. Things are different in so many different levels. My belief is that it is incumbent upon us as believers to be as spiritually mature as possible, that we might not be deceived, that we might be able to find strength even in difficult situations to handle those in a way that would glorify God, to be able to get to us all that God has for us. For some things can't come until we move to a certain level of closeness with Him. And the church has embraced that, and I've been seeing, it's been beautiful to watch since January when we started this, the development of members of the church as you see them stepping out in ways that they hadn't previously. I like to think sometimes the churches work in waves. And so when I first got there, there was a wave of young people, and we usually call that first wave goes from kindergarten to senior in high school to graduate. If we're blessed, if a church is blessed, they'll get a second wave of youth that'll come along. And if they're even more blessed, they'll get a third. And our third wave is coming around now. So we have young people that aren't in school yet. And that's our third wave. And I just believe that whether I'm here or whoever's going to be here, they'll make sure to take responsibility for that group of young people. Absolutely, that I would stay steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. I've seen some things happen that are somewhat disturbing. That sometimes when I've seen some pastors get of age, and I don't know where it comes from, but all of a sudden they begin to preach weird doctrine. I don't want to be that person. I also don't want to be up here for life. So I have a blessing in the pot that I put my blessings in and mix them up until God chooses to answer, so that when He makes that answer, I'll know it's time to go. I don't want to stand in the way. We have a young minister, Bobby Williams, who's already, to me, ready. If the Lord would say the same, to take over and take us to levels that I could never do. And so I am already looking forward to my exit. I think spiritual growth is probably the most important thing to me for our congregation as a whole. There are challenges probably with nearly everyone. And so I always pray that they can overcome those challenges in a God-honoring way and not be swept away by the things that can be very, very difficult sometimes we run into in this life. I was at a funeral this past Saturday. There was a funeral a few weeks before that, another one a few weeks before that. It's just unexpected losses of loved ones, reversals, and things happen, the unexpected. We talked about it this past Sunday, the unexpected that happens. We get adjusted to a daily routine and we feel comfortable in that, and then all of a sudden the unexpected happens. And we have to process that in a way that honors God, I believe. So we talked about some people in the Bible that did some God-honoring responses to the unexpected that happened to them in difficult situations. Well, I think it's very, very important because of what it brings to the church. We haven't gone as deeply in as I think that we will, because I do know that it is important. In the previous pastorate I was in, that was something that we were a part of, a network of churches, and it helped our youth because they got a chance to see that there were other youth. They weren't the only ones trying to serve the Lord and live for God. I think it allows us to grow just from the different perspectives that you have an opportunity to see how other people conduct things, how they go through things when they are, and then just the sharing. I think the sharing is probably most important because it allows us to see that we're not as different as sometimes we pretend we are.
Right.
That we go through many of the very same things. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I came late. I was a freshman in college. And if I had had that piece of advice and that spiritual foundation early on, well, you'd have to interview me from another location. And so that's probably the most important thing
All right.
for me.